One of my favorite science fiction movies of all time was Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was made in the early 1970s and envisioned a whole lot of stuff that we actually see around us today. And one of the really cool scenes in the movie shows the massive space station circling over Earth, but the space station is spinning like a top. And one of the interesting things about the movie that Kubrick was very attentive to was trying to think about things that were physically possible, even if it was technically not achievable at his time. And what he was trying to envision with a space station that spins like this is one where he could create artificial gravity on the space station. So we've all seen pictures of NASA astronauts floating around inside the space shuttle, and their ballpoint pen or their dinner is floating around their head because there's very weak gravity. And in the movie, he's trying to envision a space station where you could walk around and enjoy your dinner or shuffle some papers and still have gravity on board the space station. So let's watch this scene briefly, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how this might actually come to pass. So notice how big that thing is. There's little windows and so on around the space station, and it's only partially constructed. And in comes something that looks like a space shuttle, which hadn't even been invented yet when Kubrick made this movie. And here you'll notice people walking around inside the windows of the space station, and they're enjoying a conversation as if they're standing on the ground. In other words, they're not floating around at all. Some of them are even upside down, did you notice? So folks are standing around on this massive rim-like space station, and they're each enjoying gravity out there. This thing looks to be pretty big, because if that thing flying in is like the size of a space shuttle, then probably the arms of this giant spinning wheel are probably 100 meters or a football field. Now Kubrick set this to a waltz because he was envisioning this as kind of a dance for the spaceship to have to sidle on up, or for a space shuttle to have to sidle on up to this big spaceship and sort of develop a spinning pattern in lock sync with the space station. So I think that was the purpose for having the waltz music along in the background there. But the idea now is to picture a way in which physics could create gravity for someone sitting out here in this part of the space station out on the rim of a giant wheel, such that they experience a pull to the floor in the same way, or an acceleration to the floor, much like we do here on Earth. So let's think a little bit about how the physics might achieve that for us.